Welcome, brothers and sisters. My name is Will Keller. My website is Natural Freedom League. Thank you for your time and attention. I want to thank Joe and James for giving me the opportunity to present this information today. So, let's get into it. The title of my presentation is Revolt Against the Modern World and the Return to Nature. Now, I know that's a big title, and there could be a lot of preconceived assumptions that can go with some of these words and what people might think this title means. So let's dive into it. We're going to take it piece by piece. So we'll start with the caveat. Caution, shattering the illusion. The information presented today could very well create an emotional reaction, for I do not use euphemisms or sugarcoat my words. This information will challenge what you believe and may be uncomfortable, but this is where change lies, and growing pains are a part of growing up. Thank you for your time and attention. So that's true. The discomfort zone, this is where growth is, right? I mean, if we're gonna learn something new, then yeah, it's gonna test what we already know. So we're gonna step into this realm that might be uncomfortable. It's good to acknowledge your emotions, but try to set them aside, use logic and reason, and just take in the information. All right. Truth is that which is. Truth matters. Truth is objective and is simply that which has occurred in the past and is occurring in the present. The truth is not relative and is not based upon human perceptions. It is independent and can be discovered, understood, and our subjective perception can align with objective truth in reality. This is the prerequisite of seeking knowledge and wisdom. To know anything, you must first accept that there is truth. There is truth at hand. And it's my job to present this information to the best of my ability, how I comprehend this information, and then communicate it to you, the viewers. So as best as I can communicate, comprehension is key. So shift happens. There is a great awareness occurring. People can use logic and reason to discover what is going on in the world. Many cannot discern truth from deception. But there is also a feeling in our very being, one of disconnect. Most can intuitively feel in their heart that something is amiss. Why is it? What is missing? Is humanity spiraling with or against nature? People seek answers and crave connection. But from what source? The answers are available. In fact, just a shift of perspective can unravel the ropes of your worldview that bind you back from the truth and the mystery that has been awaiting your discovery. Will you respond with open-mindedness or just react comfortably to such blasphemy? As always, the choice is yours. So there's two categories that I want to talk about. This is one of them. I titled it Exoteric History. The word exoteric means known to the general public, the outside. So history is written by the victors. Therefore, his story is relative to those who claim to author reality, to author the history, the information. Truth, however, is that which has manifested, independent from our perception. The truth can be discovered, and one can align their being to a higher frequency of that which is real, reality. The truth is never popular, and nothing popular is true in the modern world. So the exoteric is simply, it's what you've been told. It's what you've been what you've learned in school. It's beliefs. There's a lot of dogmas in the exoteric, right? So it's just what the general public knows. Now, of course, information in the general public can be true for sure, right? But the exoteric is what most people know something is, or I should say believe. The second category is esoteric mystery. The word esoteric means within the inner circle, intended for the initiate. One can begin the process of truth discovery by seeking the mystery of nature. We can discover how reality operates internally, the human psyche, and externally, the manifested world, which both correspond and are reflections of each other. Esoteric knowledge has been occulted from the general public, but is accessible for those who seek it. So esoteric it's known by few. It's been occulted and is being occulted. The word occult means hidden. Oculus, hidden from the eye. So this is the information that the general public doesn't know. And the only way you're going to know about it is if you proceed on a journey of truth discovery using the trivium method, right? Where you gather all your information and you process that information and weave out any of the inconsistencies. And then you can output that in your conclusion, into your behavior. So let's start with the beginning of the title of my presentation, Revolt Against the Modern World. Let's define our terms, right? And then we'll talk about point of reference. So revolt, the etymology of revolt, it means to roll back, come to original point, return. Now, revolt has changed over the years, and this is where revolution comes from. It comes from revolt. Revolution is just going around in circles, right? You're revolving around and around. I think the exoteric, for a revolt, people think it's a violent act, revolting, right? But simply to roll back, come to original point, to return. Now, the modern world means the present time, current condition on the planet, right? The human condition. So, let's talk about what the human condition is right now. The agenda against nature. There is an overarching agenda that has been promulgated throughout the ages, which is the inversion of nature. The social engineers promote artificial and invert information on how the natural world operates. In every category of human society, the functions of the system are in opposition to nature. The majority of people have been conditioned their whole life with these false axioms. An axiom is something that is considered self-evident. Therefore, supporting and propagating these systems which contribute to human suffering. The word agenda means things to be done. Now, We can use the process of truth discovery. We can observe the natural world. We can see how all these systems in society are operating. We can see their effect, but we can also know their cause. Because when you observe the aggregate, the macro of the human species in the collective, that gives you insight into the average mind of the average person, the people. So reducing all of it down, this is how I see it. It's the agenda against nature. They are selling an artificial reality, right? These are the social engineers. That's what I call them, right? Because people are actually performing the action due to their ignorance. So, artificial reality. The modern world is disconnected from the natural rhythm of life. Every part of society is manufactured to operate in opposition to the laws of nature by design. The inversion of nature through the guise of authority is for perception management and behavior control. These are functions. They're functions, a construct of mind. That's what artificial is, right? It's just an artificial construct of mind. It's dogma as well, right? So we can go through this list real quick. Nutrition does not come from GMO, poison sprayed foods, from monoculture farming. Health does not come from synthetic chemicals and bodily genetic modifications. Education does not come from obedience. Indoctrination camps called public schooling. Sovereignty and human rights do not come from government waving a pad and a pen. But yet the general public, the aggregate of humanity, believe those statements are true. You could see it in their action. So this is the feeling that people have, yet they don't know the cause. They don't know the why, but they have a feeling that something is not right in the world. This feeling is that disconnect from nature, from the natural world, from what is real. And they need to proceed and look within, proceed on that journey of truth discovery. So let's talk about worldview. A worldview is one's perception of reality and how it operates. A worldview is based upon information one has obtained from either direct experiences and or secondhand knowledge. All behavior is based upon your worldview. Therefore, it is extremely important to have an accurate perception with a continuous effort to evolve your worldview. By shifting your perspective, you can change your perception drastically for either negative or positive. So the meme says, things are not always what they seem. The deer isn't crossing the road. The road is crossing the forest. So you have a deer in the natural world, right? Yes, humans have created this road. Road could be a technology to get us from point A to point B, but it is man-made. It is artificial. We have created it. So the exoteric of just looking at this meme, the worldview is that, a deer is crossing the road, right? Another perspective is the deer is just in its natural habitat and the road is crossing the forest. So slight little perspective. This is just a crude example, but worldview. This is the lens of how we think the world operates, and it is based upon the information that we have accumulated through life. Now we can see that the majority of people are not into philosophy. they're not into truth discovery. Some are, right? But they're not getting down to the causal factors, the why. Philosophy is that internal dialogue that you have with yourself to ask the big questions and to seek answers for, right? So this is also an operating system, how one operates in the world based on the information that they occurred. So there's two types of worldviews. There's many worldviews, but we can put them in two categories. So the one on the left is titled randomness. This states that, and this is a left brain imbalance, very analytical mindset where matter is prime. It's materialism and atomism. Humans are the apex of creation. The universe is a grand accident. There is no creator, therefore there is no underlying intelligence in nature. There's no such thing as spiritual, moral, or natural law. And this type of worldview is very controlling. It's rooted in a very dominant ego and a left brain imbalance where it's all about your genes and the material physical realm. Nature is dead. Right? I mean, if you look at this type of worldview, you know, they don't recognize or acknowledge the ether, the energetic field that connects all things. Right? It's all. This is why they also seek dark matter. So, on the opposite spectrum, we have determinism. This would be a right brain imbalance. So this is where religion comes from, right? God controls every event in creation. And God, I mean like the cultural religions aspect, right? The sky daddy, the person sitting in the heavens. And then all occurrences are preordained. Free will is an illusion and does not exist. Since God controls everything, to change is impossible. And action is ultimately meaningless. This worldview is very submissive. So we have randomness, which is very controlling. This is the master think, right? Because they like to control everything. Determinism is very submissive. This is the slave think. Now, all of these categories fall into those two worldviews, right? You have the scientific field or scientism, right? Which is really government-funded science. They're not even really using the true scientific method because all science is based in nature. Then you have in the middle, you have the political dynamics, right? The elephant and the donkey cults. This is the two dialectics with the illusion of change, which is just a slave system of control. And then on the right, you have the cultural religions. These are the three majors: Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, right? These are the Abrahamic religions. This falls in the deterministic worldview, where where God, Jesus, totally determines everything, and they're at the mercy of the sky daddy. Down below, you have the New Age, right? And the New Age is really just repackaged Christianity. The New Age doesn't acknowledge the laws of nature. They're very in tune with oneness, the law of one, how we're all connected in interconnectedness for sure. Again, all of these are hardcore imbalances. But New Age is very much determinism. It's very much a religion. And then we have the next one is scientism. Oh, the first one, was the health, the allopathic medicine, which is a sick care system, definitely not into any kind of health or preventative measures. So from scientism, then we have money, which money itself is a worldview. It dominates people, let money totally rule them. Now, money comes from one eye, which this is just an artificial median of currency. The real currency is your energy, is your time and attention. But with these paper sigils that, people are completely bloodless over, it can definitely rule their world, and it can create a big imbalance. Now, I understand that, we need to use fiat currency and cryptocurrency. We need to utilize these resources and stuff like that. But letting it rule you and control you is another factor. So all of those categories, they're all religion. Every single one of them. So religion means to bind back, relegare, to hold back from forward progress. In the modern world, is the modern world in alignment with the laws of nature in objective reality? This is the question that we have to ask, because we're talking about religion. Now, I understand there is a positive connotation of religio, and we're going to get to that a little bit later, which religio means to reunite. But if we look at the modern world in the aggregate, we see all the categories of the worldviews, and we can observe reality and see the effects, and that the majority of people fall into those categories in an extreme imbalance of randomness or determinist. The majority of worldviews in the modern world are artificial constructs of mind that propagate, support, and condone slavery. They all are cults of mind control. All of those categories, they all serve a purpose, and that is to support the system of slavery and control. Now, they're all religion, they're all cults of mind control, but it's a certain type of religion. It's a certain type of religion that has been around for thousands of years. It's monotheism. So the word mono, or monotheism, mono meaning one or single. Theism, belief in God, gods, or deity. So the belief in one God. All of the cultural and modern religions have some common factors, such as the adherents tend to be very intolerant and destructive to outsiders because they are really cults of exclusion. If you look at all of these religions, especially the cultural religions, which have a really big hold on people nowadays, even if someone doesn't really think so. I mean, monotheism has laid the foundation of civilization. And they all are cults of exclusion. Islam, they accept everyone. Unless you're not part of their religion, then you're an infidel. Same with Christianity. If you don't worship Jesus Christ, then you're going to hell. Now keep in mind the two categories that I mentioned earlier of the exoteric and the esoteric. We're going to touch more on that, but keep that in mind. So monotheism, the common factors. There is an abdication of responsibility when it comes to these monotheistic religions. If it's scientism, all the experts got it. I don't need to look into it for myself. I don't need to educate myself. I just believe the experts. Everything's going to work out. It's follow your bliss. We're all one. We don't need to seek truth and speak truth, stand up for injustice and fight against slavery and tyranny, because we're all one. They do not align with nature, and they are dogmatic. All of those are artificial systems, including the cultural religions. Now, most people, the majority of people, are looking at the cultural religions from an exoteric standpoint. Another common factor is they claim to be the arbiters of truth, reason, and authority. They all do. The financial aspect, right? It's all about the money. The financial aspect dictates recessions and economies and how people prosper. Financial institute is the arbiter of prosperity, abundance, and scarcity. So, I mean, cultural religions the same way. These are the arbiters. If you want to commune spiritually, or if you want to be in tune or communicate and get in touch with the creative force, you have to go through a priest or a rabbi. They'll speak for you because they're the arbiters. Now, the most dangerous monotheistic religion is statism. Early monotheism laid the foundation for government, which is the religion of statism. This dominant, dogmatic illusion is the mono-mind virus that plagues humanity, propagating the belief in human authority over the natural world. This religion is parasitic and narcissistic, being the number one cause of unnatural death in existence. Its followers are disassociated from the natural world, creating an unconscious feedback loop of trauma, which is projected out in their own behavior, causing a vicious cycle of suffering. It's called democide. The number one cause of unnatural death in existence is called democide, death by government. And government is a monotheistic religion. Government is God for the majority of people. They like their conservative sector or the Democrat, the liberal sector. Now, government is illusion. Government means mind control. And it is an artificial construct because you cannot delegate a right that you yourself do not have. This is why the human condition is slavery. You have a master class that dictates or commands, it issues commands, and all the other subjects below, the slaves, must obey those commands. And it's backed by duress and violence. The artwork is by Sarah Cross. I'm gonna have several pieces in this presentation. Phenomenal graphic illustrations that she herself have created, and you can see You have the slaves, you have the order followers, right? The police and military, the doctors, the politician, the priest at the top, right? These are all religions. Now, ego identification. Most people are ignorant to what it means to be human, believing they are their personas, occupations, cultural status, and ideologies, unbeknownst of their true potential, which is infinite consciousness having an experience to evolve the soul in harmony with the one great spirit. This is due to an out-of-control ego addicted to conditioned religions rooted in materialism. Ego identification. I am my job. I am my status. Relating to the persona that you see in the mirror. When my body is a vessel, I respect it. It's my temple, right? I'm here to learn and evolve in consciousness. The artwork is created by Sarah Cross again. It says, I identify as, but all you really are is spirit. This is the confusion in the world. This is how these artificial constructs, how they get rooted within people, is because they identify with that construct. And it's rooted in materialism. It's rooted in the 5 sense physical world, where all of these religions, they want to dismiss logic and reason. They want people to be emotionally reactive. It's all about how you feel. Your emotions, this is energy in motion. This is your compass. It needs to be used in unison of logic and reason. They need to be wed. So, next I want to talk about 2 systems. Symbiosis and parasitic. So, symbiosis. Syn means together. Bios, life. Symbiosis is operating in harmony with the laws of nature, with balance and connection. This is how the natural world is always seeking homeostasis and always seeking a state of symbiosis. We have parasitic. Parasitas. One who lives at another's expense. The social engineers are a parasitic class that thrives from humanity's ignorance. When we think about in the natural world what a parasite is, right? Like a tick or just a parasite in your intestines or there's all kinds, there's a list of them, right? They feed off the host. This is what the social engineers, the controllers at the top of the pyramid, they are manipulating people. They're engineering society, controlling available information to manage people's perception. Ultimately, it comes down to you and your actions. If you are not seeking the truth, then you possibly could be stuck in one of these paradigms. And then your actions and behavior in the world could very much be immoral and causing harm and condoning slavery and violence. So these 2, we can see that the exoteric worldviews in the modern world are very much parasitic. Financial, scientism, Pharmaceutical companies, parasitic. New Age, very parasitic. Just because they're one-sided. It's solipsism. Doctors, health, the allopathic industry. It's a sick care system. They're not about health whatsoever. If they were, they would be about symbiosis, understanding the balance and connection with the natural world, with nature and the body, the mind, the psyche, the emotions, and the physical vessel operating in symbiosis, in balance. Politics, obviously, that's a extremely parasitic system. And all of the cultural religions. Now, monotheistic and polytheism, right? The religions that believe in multiple gods. There's the exoteric and the esoteric of that. There are seeds of truth. There's a pathway of development within these cultural religions, but you have to weave through it. You need to get to the esoteric. Seek that. But they are there for control, to be parasitic, to feed off the people's energy. That's what they're there for. So, let's move on to the next category, which is the return to nature. So, let's define our terms. Return means turn back to. Nature, which is pronounced nature, the NTR, means creator or God, but not God in the sense of the exoteric cultural religions, like a sky daddy. It means the creator of the universe. The return to nature is embodying a holistic perspective of reality based in objective truth and the laws of nature, natural law. To connect to that which is moral and align oneself to the natural universal spirit. To serve truth with principled actions. The return to nature is unity consciousness. As I think, so I feel, and so I act. Now, the return to nature, I think the exoteric version of that, well, hey, I go hiking and, they think it's just one-sided. They go camping all the time. They walk barefoot once in a while, right? They're eating good. And yes, those are aspects of returning to nature. But some people think returning to nature means, the destruction of technology. That's not what I mean whatsoever. Technology is a tool. Now, there's some technologies that are absolutely devastating to the ecosystem, to the natural world, and to humanity, right? But I'm not talking about reverting to the past. I'm very much talking about evolving action in the here and now and evolving to the future. And this starts with the mind. The return to nature is about principles. It's about understanding the foundational knowledge of reality, objective reality, and how that corresponds to the human being. What it means to be human, that we exist in this reality field. We have a body. We think, we feel, we act. How does that operate? And when we take actions and interact in the world, are we causing harm? Are we being parasitic? Or are we in balance with nature, in symbiosis? So the artwork was done by Sarah Cross. Beautiful. So I mentioned earlier on about a shift in perspective. And this is what I want to introduce now. A shift in perspective. Animism. Let's define our terms. From Latin, anima or animus, meaning breath, soul, spirit, life force, consciousness. Animism is a holistic state of being, an operating system that perceives reality from consciousness, universal life force energy, and the governing laws of nature. Animism is building a personal relationship with natural laws by becoming a conscious co-creator. Animism is personalized evolution towards symbiosis in nature. Now, animism, this is synonymous with paganism. But I'm choosing deliberately this word because this word describes it exactly what it is. This is the true definition, the true word to use. Paganism simply means country dweller. It's a term that means someone that's outside of the main cultural world religions, the Abrahamic religions. But animism describes exactly the mindset that we need to be in to return to nature. Now, I want to say something. Animism, the word animism also comes, or animate, comes from anima. What does it mean to be animated? It means to be alive. You have life force energy within you. Universal life force energy that connects all life, all living things. Right? We know this. We know it's consciousness and energy. So, anima and animus. I want to touch on this because this is important for psychology, right? Each of us have an anima and animus deep in our unconscious mind. Many people have heard of shadow work, right? Bringing past traumas out of the darkness into the light of the conscious mind, right? The New Age movement talks about shadow work, all this kind of stuff. Now, yes, this is good. We need to do this. But ultimately, we need to go deeper than what the exoteric or the general population understand about shadow work. Because at its deepest level, we reach the anima and the animus. Now, the anima and animus, they're representations of the divine feminine, which is the anima, and the divine masculine, which is the animus. These are representations in the natural world. The anima represents life, the feminine aspect of the natural world, life. A woman has a womb, right? She grows, creates life. And the animus is, the divine masculine is meaning. This is a very masculine aspect. It's the seed, right? But within the individual, in psychology, the anima and the animus are directly related to mother and father. Your parents, your childhood is related to the anima and animus. Now, when we look at what's going on in the world, that we're in a condition of human slavery, this can be traced to incorrect parenting, the lack of knowledge of the natural world, the laws of nature, how reality creates and manifests, and how the human body operates. So we are not teaching our children how to be moral human beings, how to act in the world. Now, the anima and the animus can take negative connotations, and then they will output in dark forms, right? Your mother will shape the way how you see females in your life. For instance, myself. The way that I view and how I relate to women is directly, it correlates to the relationship I had with my mother. Now, this is same with the animus, right? This is the father aspect. Now, this is the point of doing the deep shadow work, is to bring light, conscious awareness to these aspects and heal. Now, majority of people have been through some type of trauma. It's obvious, right? We wouldn't be in this situation that we are if there was correct parenting, or there was a level of symbiosis in childhood, in growing up. But we don't have that. So this is where the deep shadow work comes into play. Now, animism is a mindset. It could be considered a worldview, how you perceive the world. Indigenous cultures are animists. They are very much in tune with nature and how nature operates, and themselves. So again, I'm not saying revert to the past. Here and now, I'm providing a perspective that could be utilized for great gain, great self-development. Mind, emotion, actions, to create symbiosis in the natural world with our fellow beings. So animists see life force energy in everything, and they can see we're always trying to discover the correlations and the correspondences between the self and the natural world. So let's talk about the natural world. So natural, Commission from Kemet, NTR, which means creator, creation. That's nature. And then natural, Latin, naturalis, of, from, or related to creation. So when we hear something like the natural world, this is the world around us, the creation. We can see this when we eat natural foods. It was grown naturally in its natural system. When we look at GMO, genetically modified, right? This is artificial. Human beings have messed around with it. This is why they don't have seeds as well when you eat GMO fruit. It's genetically modified organism. So, you are having a subjective experience in an objective reality. The natural world is governed by cosmic, universal, binding, and immutable laws. Animism is considered the root religion, quote unquote, because it is based upon the natural, which is absolute and always present. Now, I don't normally use this term, but a lot of people always talk about, well, there's two connotations for religion. Well, I'm giving you the positive connotation right now. It is animism. Religio in Latin, it means to reunite, to connect together. To reunite to what? To truth, to nature, to the natural world, to creation, to natural law. This is what it means to reunite, to connect, to come together. So, when we look at the world and we observe in the aggregate the human condition, do we see a connection to truth, to natural law? Do we see human beings being more moral or being moral? No, we do not. Absolutely. So we can observe all those systems, and we can observe, and our conclusion for the majority of people is that they're in a state of relegare, to bind, to hold back from the truth, from creation, from the natural world, from natural law. So the natural world is the realm of the real. Anima mundi. This means living nature, soul of the world. Nature is a dynamic, creative intelligence, the underlying living field of consciousness and energy that is in continuous communication with us to restructure and reorganize according to the laws of nature, to give us the experience we have chosen. Symbiosis. The natural world is alive. The creative intelligence. When I think of atheisms, right? When I communicate with atheisms, which is just another religion, it's the religion, the relegare of materialism and atomism, worshiping matter. Matter is prime, right? They lack the correlative thinking, the pattern recognition, to see the dynamic creative intelligence, all the patterns in the natural world that unite us with nature, all the artificial worldviews, right? One thing they promote is what? Being separate from nature. They all promote that because they're all artificial. So animism, for the rest of the presentation, I'm going to be speaking from the perspective of animism. So anima mundi, living nature. Nature is alive and communicating constantly. We can interact with natural law. This is all one system. So let's talk about the cosmic order, or you can call it the natural order. This is the real natural order. So cosmos, from Greek, kosmos, means order. We have the governing dynamics, the parameters by which all things operate, including human beings, beings with the capacity to understand logic and reason at that level, not the animals that are a different level of consciousness, but this cosmic order is to all things. We have the 8 laws, natural cosmic laws. 1, mentalism. 2, correspondence. 3, vibration. 4, polarity. 5, rhythm. 6, cause and effect. 7, gender, which is energetic gender, and biological gender in the manifested realm. And the 8th is care. The 3 principles From the three principles arise the infinite variety of combinations of manifestation. We have consciousness, 1. Number 2, energy, which is also motion. And number 3, substance, which is matter. So, an animist understands the 8 laws and the 3 principles and constantly wants to improve that understanding and achieve self-development within these laws and principles. So, having the animistic perspective, I highly recommend. And again, this is introductory for a lot of people. There is no book on animism. I mean, you could buy one. I mean, some people have written books, but there's no holy books. There's no, one go-to book to describe animism. Animism is very simple. You understand how nature works and how the self works, and you apply it in your life. Spiritual. What does it mean to be spiritual? So, spiral comes from Latin, spira, twist around a fixed point. And then we have ritual, Latin, ritus, ceremony or practice, also in the Sanskrit, rite, going, way, or custom. So being spiritual means one understands natural law as the fixed point of creation, and daily habits will advance or decline one's personal evolution. Life is not linear. It is a spiral, like the golden ratio in the natural world, in all things. Our thoughts, emotions, and actions are either in harmony or in opposition with nature. The consequences are inevitable. So spiritual, right? Spiral, ritual. What you do on a daily basis, your actions. Are they moral or immoral? The consequences are inevitable. So something that is big in animism and has been used in cultural religions in a different context, mythology. Many past cultures use mythos as an oral tradition to pass knowledge through the ages. These stories are representations of natural forces and aspects of consciousness that can be utilized for self-development. The gods, goddesses, planets, signs, symbols, and events are not literal. They are allegorical, metaphorical, and archetypal, which bypass the ego and resonate within the subconscious mind, which also makes them timeless. Okay, so using logic and reason can decode the contained gnosis and reveal correspondences within human psychology and the laws of nature. So mythology is story with logic. There's logic in the story. Now, the cultural religions have taken mythology and twisted it and used it to their advantage for control. This is a lot of the holy books, right? The majority of people take the holy books as literal. The Bible, for example. They don't understand that that's the exoteric, used for control, used to manage perception. The esoteric is allegorical, metaphorical, and archetypal. So many past animist cultures used mythos to convey natural law and the human psyche and consciousness. As above, so below. The universe is holographic in nature, meaning self-similar on the macrocosm and the microcosm. The planets and the stars are aspects of our psychology. The earth is similar to the human vessel. As within, so without. So we talked about the patterns, the correspondences we see in the natural world and the human vessel. You see some of these pictures. This is a lung. This is a tree. The golden ratio, the Fibonacci sequence. The tree of life, the human placenta. Leaf veins, human veins. The cycles of the seasons is like the earth. The earth is a living being. The cycles of the seasons are the oscillation of respiration, breathing in, breathing out. The mountains are like the fixed points of our bones. The ocean is like the lymphatic system, washing away, detox. Rivers or veins. We see all these types. There's so many that you can go through. Now, the law of manifestation. Humans say they want change, but there are requirements for manifesting the conditions we say we want. Animism is a proactive and practical operating system that involves action. A simple example is the old adage, you reap what you have sown, you get what you give. So, let's define some words. Energy from Greek, ergon, deed. Karma from Sanskrit, to do. Karma means action. What is energy? Energy is energy in motion. It is action as well. So the law of manifestation is not based upon your feelings for the New Age people and the exoteric. It's based upon your actions. So, prayer versus sacrifice. Manifestation is based upon energy exchange. You must be willing to give action to get the result. There is a difference between prayer and sacrifice. Prayer is asking a God to grant your wish and give you what you want, which is an artificial delusion. Sacrifice is giving your time and attention through action towards the goal. Sacrifice, which is the movement of energy, can be done consciously or unconsciously. But if you say you want something, then action is required. Act, ion, right? Act means to perform, ion, like energy. Or on, time and attention, your action. The universe. Let's define our terms. The universe, whole, entire, turned into one, all in one. Unis, one. Versus, turn. You also have uni, which is one, or verse, which is song. So we have universe, one reality, one song. It's objective in nature, not relative. Each person isn't creating their own reality. We exist in a reality, the one reality performing the one song. We each play an instrument in the universal symphony of nature. not separately, but as one song. We are co-creating reality, and your actions set the tone for direction of the one song. Nature is the instructor at the university, guiding and offering abundant lessons for the fine-tuning of the spiritual musician, if willing. Animists know that the spiritual lessons is in the engagement within the natural world, with the self and nature. So this is something the New Age people they do understand, right? The law of one, that we all are connected. Atomism versus animism. So, plane of causality and plane of effects. The spiritual realm of mind and energy are metaphysics, and the 3D material plane is the manifested realm of effects. They are not separate and operate as one. The modern world focuses on the manifested physical realm by removing the ether, or life force energy, and replacing it with atomism, which matter is prime. Animism understands all is consciousness and life force energy, ether. Natural law is the only governing authority to help guide us to higher states of conscious evolution. And this will lead us to the Great Reset versus the One Great Work. So we have the Great Reset, which I'm sure a lot of people have heard about. The social engineers are pretty outspoken on what their plans are for humanity, right? They're calling it the Great Reset. And it is very much in opposition to nature. The One Great Work is very much in alignment to nature. So there are no saviors. What is potential is not actual. You must activate. There's no sky daddies that are going to save us. There is no second coming of Jesus or of any other savior. So, it is on us. We need to take accountability and responsibility and activate action. So, the Great Reset. These sick psychopaths, right? They ultimately want transhumanism, right? They want full-blown atomism. And their agenda is the social engineers want to merge humans with machine to atomize and reduce humanity to an algorithm whereby humans are fully disconnected from spirit in nature. Souls will be sold to materialism, egotism, obedience, and ignorance will reign as the pillar of worship for the new man. For the new man will claim authority over nature. The implementation of this ideology has been well established and is directed to the next generations. Homo Deus, man is God. And this is happening now. This has been happening, and it is going on as we speak. This is what they want to do. Transhumanism, right? Man is God. The complete separation, artificial separation of human and nature. Because you can't separate humans from natural law. Natural law is of creation, binding and immutable. The social engineers understand this. They give the relativity aspect as the exoteric for the general population. So, animism and anarchy. Animism and anarchy are synonymous. Both inherent natural states of being. They are based in objective truth, personal responsibility, accountability, decentralized anti-system, and both are highly criticized in the modern world. Animism is a mindset of sovereignty, engagement, action, and evolution under natural law. Anarchy is the state of freedom, whereby humanity is moral in action under natural law. These two go together. They're both default systems of being. Anarchy is the natural state where human beings should be free. Animism is the natural state where human beings perceive nature, see nature, and realize that we are one with nature, and we understand that there are natural laws, that we are accountable and responsible for our actions, and we respect nature on all levels. So, doing the one great work, we must seek truth and speak truth. Animism is the great work, the internal process of working with the aspects of consciousness and natural law for self-discovery and self-mastery. Seeking the mystery of oneself in nature. The esoteric mystery, the my story of oneself. Self-discovery. This is the great work. The great work is the internal process of self-discovery. And the one great work is service to truth by acting in the external world to influence change towards symbiosis and freedom. Understanding the universal life force that connects all as one. Meaning, once you understand the human condition and what we're up against, it's your moral obligation to get involved and act. Activate and act. It's the service of truth. You can see the hierarchy of service. Service of self, most prevalent in society. Then service to others, and then service to the truth. In serving truth, you serve both the self and others, because truth is only ever of benefit to all. Animism seeks the truth in nature and in oneself. The one great work is the service to truth to end human slavery. So, how do we influence the unconscious masses to look within for change? Earth, heart. I underlined art because we create art. Change must occur in the mind. And we can spark that change through the heart via inspiration by utilizing your own talents and attributes to express the message of true freedom in a multitude of art forms. This requires being literate in the modern day and being connected to yourself. Just as nature expresses beauty in unlimited forms, you can create change. You can create change with your will. Now, creating art, this speaks to the heart space. This is how we can inspire people. By becoming artists, becoming a content creator. But we have to be literate. We need to use technology. In animism, it's all about using technology, but trying to use it in a symbiosis manner, to be in symbiosis with nature, the natural world. So we must be literate of the current. To be literate in the modern day means you need to understand how to create content at a high level. What does it mean to reach hundreds and thousands of people with your voice? You need to understand the tech and know yourself. Utilizing your own talents and attributes requires internal discovery. You cannot solve any problem from the same level of consciousness that created the problem. Higher consciousness is the solution. When we take in information, correct information, this can add to our awareness. Awareness reveals choice. We get more choices as we get a wider scope of what's going on. So, my hopes in this presentation was to gently touch on animism. I think a lot of people, especially at this conference, or people that are familiar with my work, are probably resonate with animism already. But we can go deeper. This is a shift in perspective that hopefully, if you have not heard of animism before, you can look into and explore. Go deeper into the natural law principles. See how they operate within your own life, within your psyche. Because higher consciousness is definitely the solution. And this is how we can return to nature, my friends. So, thank you very much. That's the end of my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got value. My website is naturalfreedomleague.com. Again, I am grateful to be here at this conference, and thank you so much for your time and attention. My name is Will Keller. Seek truth and speak truth. Agape.